Welcome to the TCM Teach Podcast, the business podcast designed exclusively for acupuncturists and Chinese medicine herbalists who are ready to build thriving, sustainable businesses. I'm Sabey Smith, a licensed acupuncturist, herbalist, professor, coach, entrepreneur, and I've spent years helping practitioners like you not only master their clinical skills, but also build practices that grow with purpose and stability. Today we're breaking down a trap that many practitioners fall into when starting out: the build it and they will come mentality. The truth is, simply opening your doors and waiting for patients isn't enough. You need intentional systems, outreach, and communication that invite people into your practice. So let's get started right after this disclaimer. Please remember, I am simply a practitioner here to help you on your journey. The information shared in this podcast is intended for educational and learning purposes only. It should not be taken as professional, legal, or financial advice, and for guidance specific to your business, please consult with the appropriate licensed professional. Thank you. So, why build it and they will come? Why doesn't it work? You have to understand that the mindset around this assumes that skills alone are enough. And the reality is that would be great. However, that's really not the case. Because when you're a business owner, you're in a whole other field. And this is something where a lot of the school systems lack. They prepare you for a job. They don't prepare you to own a business. You go to school thinking you can show up every day, work on patients, and go home. But if you're running the business, which many of you are, especially if you're listening to this, then just your skills aren't going to be enough. You have to develop other skills, maybe the ones they didn't tell you about in school. In reality, patients don't know what you do, generally speaking, and they don't know how it can help them unless you communicate with them, which is why many times I actually adopt the mentality of being a teacher or a professional translator between TCM and biomedicine for a lot of people. And honestly, sometimes that's enough help to give people what they need. And when they come into my clinic, of course, I'm stoked to help them. Acupuncture is still misunderstood by the general public. Here we are recording this in 2025, but yeah, there's still a long way to go. You must bridge the gap between what you offer and what patients might perceive. So one of the key takeaways that I want to give you with this is excellence in clinical skills doesn't automatically create patient flow. So what would this flow perspective be when it comes to things like outreach? As we know, qi has to move. Otherwise, we get stagnation with qi and blood. Stagnation leads to disease. We know this as practitioners. It's the same with business. If your message, services, and presence don't move outward, your practice stagnates. For example, if there's a practitioner with amazing skills, but they have no marketing, it's like your qi is trapped in the channels. The channels can do their job, but if the qi is stuck and the qi has nowhere to go, time to find another way. Otherwise, we're going to get disease, i.e., the business is not going to be successful. So it's going to close in on itself. And we don't want that. Healthy business qi, visibility, education, outreach, connection. These are key points that we have to understand to get to where we want to be, because build it and they will come is not really good marketing advice. Common reasons practitioners fall into this trap. There could be a fear of marketing. And honestly, I bet a lot of you fear that. It could feel salesy or inauthentic, which is why I've spent so many episodes talking about the mindset behind being a business owner. You have to remember that you are here to provide a transformation to someone. You are here to change somebody's life, to help them on their health journey, whatever it may be. You're not selling them on anything. You're just offering to help them get what they want. And in reality, that's what sales are. Over-reliance on word of mouth. You could be waiting instead of cultivating. Now, there is a fine line between word of mouth and not using your mouth. You yourself should be using your own mouth with word of mouth and referrals from clients. So when someone really likes what you do, they're going to be very excited. They're going to tell their friends. They're going to be like, go see my guy over at XYZ address. He's the best. He'll fix you right up. That can be happening while you are somewhere else working too. So you yourself could be giving a presentation. You could be talking to people. You could be hanging out where you think your key clientele would be hanging out, and just have conversations. Carry some business cards around and go talk about how you can help people. Take the business side out of it. Hey, here's what I do. I'd love to help you. You're not selling anything. You're just saying, I'd love to serve you. The thing is, there could also be an underestimation of what the public might understand and what they need. Assuming people already understand acupuncture, no. Generally, the people that know the closest thing to acupuncture either grew up with it or maybe they experienced dry needling, at least in the United States. Or maybe in a rare scenario, I found people got herbs or something. However, you can always be educating about acupuncture and what acupuncture is for people. I feel like I do that on a daily basis, just talking about what it is and what I do. So, hiding behind perfectionism. I'm sure there's a lot of you out there too who are perfectionists because we're acupuncturists. That's kind of the point, is to put in the perfect point all the time. So, spending months on a logo, on a website, on a course, instead of just doing outreach, just start having conversations with people. Hey, what do you do? Oh, well, if I'm talking about myself, I'm a doctor of acupuncture and Chinese herbal medicine. If someone doesn't ask you further questions about that, I would be very surprised, because I don't think it's really ever happened. People don't ask me more questions. They say, wow, cool. I was always curious about, or I always wondered, or the classic, does that really work? Don't be insulted. Take it as an invitation to talk about what you do and how you can serve somebody. And you might be surprised who walks through your door as a result. All right, next, there's a belief that patients will just find you. In reality, patients have too many choices. Yes, on occasion, they'll find you through a website, Google reviews, whatever. However, as a business owner, you need to be a little more adamant about being in someone's view. And often people need to see you or hear from you or learn something about you multiple times before they trust you enough to ask, hey, how much is an appointment? So it's your job to talk about what you do. Talk about Chinese medicine. Just be passionate about what you do and people will start asking questions. Practice what you preach. Those of you who practice and live TCM are not going to struggle having conversations. Maybe you're just not ending the conversation properly. These are things that we go through more in the coaching realm, but I will definitely do my best to put episodes on about this too. However, my quick advice to you with that would be, if you get somebody in a conversation and you get them to have an emotional buy-in, pull out your phone, make sure you have a way to schedule people on your phone. Don't leave them, yeah, give me a call. Say, well, I can definitely help you. Do you want to come in next week? Every single time I have done that, I have gotten them to schedule and they got my paperwork. every time. It's like closing a sale, but now you have an opportunity to serve them as a result because they were really interested. Because here's the reality. If someone comes in, and this is a basic sales tactic, if someone comes in and you don't make the sale right there, the likelihood of them coming back is next to nothing. For example, if you go in to buy a car, this is why car salesmen want to sell you the car, is because they know if you walk out that door and they don't give you the best deal possible, it's very unlikely you're actually going to come back. Cars are a bigger purchase. Acupuncture, not so much. So it's easier to forget. Get them on your schedule right there. Or get their phone number and or email, and you call or contact them. Hey, I just want to follow up. You were talking about that ankle pain that you were dealing with. I'd love to help you. Do you want to get on my schedule? Be a little bold. It's not pushy. You're just trying to compassionately help somebody. You just happen to get paid for it. So just remember, you find the patients and you help them find you. Next, you want to shift your mentality to what works. Proactive communication. Translate TCM into patient-friendly language. Like I said, I feel like I'm a professional translator half the time, speaking from biomedical terms into TCM, where I have to oversimplify things. But if it makes sense to the patient enough, they're like, cool, that sounds good. I'll give it a try. Share stories. People want to know what the transformation is. They want to know what the result is. They want to know how you're going to make them feel. They're not going to care so much about the theory. You could talk about chi, you could talk about blood stagnation, you could do all that, but you might start losing them as a result if they're not the target clientele who want to hear those types of things. If someone's in pain, what do they want? They want to get out of pain. If you can get them out of pain, and it could be drug-free, side effect-free virtually, that's going to sound pretty good to them. Oh, and it only costs sometimes the equivalent of a deductible, not even, depending what you charge. Or if you take a health savings account or something even, or if you take insurance, it's going to sound pretty darn good to them. You're probably just not ending the conversation accordingly. You want to build visibility. Online presence, Google business, any types of reviews you could put on your website. Just having a simple website with reviews, obviously just get their permission. Hey, would you mind writing a review? And give them an incentive or something. Give them a little incentive, whatever. Like, I would love for you to try my new tea that I just came out with. Or here's a thank you. Here's 10% off your next treatment, whatever. It's okay. That's just good business. It's simple marketing. Offline, do your talks, do your workshops, get in the community, do networking. One of my favorite examples of this, a friend of mine told me about it. She was talking to this practitioner who built his whole practice doing one thing. That one thing that practitioner did was showed up to the local farmer's market. And at that farmer's market, they set up a little booth and said free tongue and pulse diagnosis. People wanted to know more. What do you mean free tongue and pulse diagnosis? All it did was it got them into a conversation. He'd feel their pulse, look at their tongue. Do you experience this, this, and this? And of course, being a TCM practitioner, he was always right. Then they want to know more. What is this mysterious thing that no doctor has ever told me about before? I would love to know more. Oh, I can help you in these ways. So once you get your practice down, once you get your pitch down, to simplify it for people to understand, you're going to build visibility. And I just loved that example because it was so simple, yet it was so effective, and they built their whole practice on it. Any type of community networking you can do. So I work on a lot of sports. I've done a lot of sports med, coaching, strength coaching, athlete mental performance coaching, things of that nature. So I'm in gyms a lot. It's what I do for fun. So that's a form of my community networking. If someone's complaining about pain, Hey, do you mind if I take a look at that? Yeah, have you tried this? I might be able to help you. Do you want to come in? Yeah, sure, maybe. Or, yeah, tell me more. Here's my card. Yeah, so but don't end it there. Here's my card. Tell me more about that. Here's what I charge. Do you want to get on my schedule? Just ask. Give them the opportunity to respond. Patient journey mapping. Ask your patients, how do you find me? What happens next? So if you were to ask, let me rephrase that. If you were to ask yourself, how do patients find me? And then when they do, what happens next? So this even happens on social media marketing. I see this all the time. Do my program. Great. And then if you don't tell them where to go, they're like, your program sounds great. Woohoo. You have to leave a link. You have to tell them to go somewhere. Go to your website. Don't say, go over to my YouTube, to go over to my TikTok, to go over to my Facebook, to go over to my Instagram, to then have a missing link that doesn't work. Always point them to a specific location, whether it be your email list, whether it be your website. It's like, if you truly are interested in this, go here. And if you want to go here, we can make this happen. Simple as that. A lot of times, practitioners will be afraid that they'll not see a client, or they're too timid, or if they don't want to come off as too pushy. However, you could be compassionate and just be forward. Do you want to get on my schedule? No harm done. They'll say yes or no. The key here is, when you map this out, even with word of mouth, think about where you want them to go. Where are you trying to lead them? And just be intentional about it. When you get your signature formula down, you can replicate it over and over and over again. And that's how you build a whole practice. Sounds too easy, I know, but that's okay. That's why we're here. Consistency over intensity. That's a big one. It's not about one great viral ad or video or blog or research or whatever. It's really about being consistent, steady, clear outreach. Eventually, if you are persistent enough in the public eye, people are going to take notice. There's even famous marketers out there who talk about, if you really want to be a social media influencer, you have to post every day for 10 years. And you're pretty much guaranteed to get somewhere. Forget about the algorithms. Every day. Be there. Be in the place where you want people to see you, wherever that may be. And you are bound to have success. Specifically, that's actually Gary Vee, I think, that says that. And while I'm not necessarily a social media guru by any means, consistency pays off. Education as a service. Did you ever think about education as a service? Your marketing could be as simple as teaching people how they can heal others. That could be CEUs. That could be teaching other practitioners things about acupuncture and how you could work together. That could be creating a specific course for a particular condition you work on. You could teach people how to cook healthier. That's a form of marketing for your patients. Just be creative and let the ideas flow. So what are some practical strategies you could apply now? My advice would be, write down 3 ways patients can currently find you. And if you can't come up with 3, where are the gaps? And if you do come up with 3, are there more? Where's an area you might be lacking for your key clientele? Create a first step offer. Offer something easy for patients to find you. Some workshop, some free consult, a discovery call even, whatever it may be. Just get them to talk to you. And that usually takes care of the rest, because if they talk to you, they're usually already halfway there of being sold to come see you, to allowing you to help them. Schedule weekly visibility tasks, like some type of newsletter, or posting of some sort, some type of networking, going around to different businesses, some type of emailed video, whatever it may be. Schedule at least a weekly visibility task that is rich in value. And always keep track of where your patients come from. So figure out what's working and what is not working. If you find that everyone is coming because of the ad you put in the paper, but they're not coming from the ad you keep paying more for on the radio, stop doing the radio, stick to the newspaper. Just as a quick example. What you want to do is ask every new patient, hey, how did you hear about me? How did you learn about this place? And use the data to define your outreach. It's like A/B testing. We're going to try this and we're going to try this, and we're going to stick with the one that works most. Then we'll try something new working with that model. And just keep testing, keep trying. The key is consistency and not giving up. So what is the ripple effect of an active outreach? When practitioners take control of visibility, their confidence, like we've spoken about, is going to grow. Patients benefit because they're educated, and they're even empowered before they arrive. They've learned something about what you can do for them. They're open and ready to learn. Your practice becomes more sustainable as a result. So it's not dependent on luck. It's on a system, and any system can be replicated, changed, rewired to work optimally once again. Don't rely on luck and hope marketing. Remember, you're not chasing patients. You're inviting them into healing. Make sure your conscious and subconscious understand that. So here's what I'm going to leave you with. Waiting for patients to just show up keeps your practice small and ultimately stagnant. Proactive communication, visibility, and education transform your work from hidden potential into real, lasting impact. When you stop waiting and start reaching, you create a practice that thrives with flow and intention. So I've created a resource for you regarding this episode. It's called the Patient Attraction Actions. So this is going to walk you step by step through how to move from hoping for patients to consistently attract them with clarity and ease into true action. Here's something I could do all the time and be consistent with. That's going to give them the clarity. That's going to give them the ease of finding you. So you'll find that in the membership. And in our next episode, we're going to dive into slightly different topics where we are actually going to be talking about choosing the right business structure. So maybe you already have a business structure. Maybe you're not sure. Maybe you're only a sole proprietor right now. So we're going to be diving into a lot of that next. So I'm very excited for that. So definitely stay tuned and just remember to keep listening, keep staying up to date, use the resources. If you haven't been using the resources up to this point, definitely go back because you're missing more than half of the ways you can start applying these lessons from now. Those of you that are really intentional about using the resources are going to be very successful on your own just with those. So definitely go back if you haven't done that already. So until then, until our next episode, thanks for tuning in to the TCM Teach Podcast, and we'll see you next time. See you.